that bombshell, let us proceed. I believe Raph is ready with the button. We begin our preview. Welcome to Lords of the Mortal Realms. Let's start with this.
Let's go, guys. Hype it up.
Lyria Ulthra, Warden of Ametrica, by your shining lance do we part the sea of darkness. My star shards, with your mighty bolts, we cast down the faithless. My blade lords, blessed sword of the Venari, in your care we place our lives. My law seekers, cunning agents of knowledge, through your deeds we enlighten the realms. And Elania, my pupil, with your brother Elithor, favored of my twin, you set new heights for all Lumineth to aspire to.
Oh shit, nice.
My people, with your combined might, judgment will be rendered. Together, we will pierce death's fell curtain and bring light.
Ouh, nice. Enfin, le reste des modèles.
Ooh, that was pretty exciting. Lumineth Realm Lords, they're in glorious, bright and beautiful colours. Eddie, what did we really see?
So, as you quite rightly alluded to there, Adam, a whole host, a glittering new host of miniatures for the Lumineth Realm Lords. We saw, obviously, the first wave of Lumineth released last year, and the army is expanding hugely, almost, I think, doubles in size. Pretty much.
Blade Lords.
This next drop of miniatures, and some absolutely glorious miniatures, and I think a beautiful mix of things that are kind of weird and wonderful and unique to the Mortal Realms, and a few kind of harks back to some of the elven archetypes maybe that we're familiar with from history. So the unit you're looking at right now are the Blade Lords, and fans of a certain vintage will be familiar with the idea of a highly elite elven unit with double-handed greatswords, and these are very much the martial elite of the elven forces. So the equivalent, I suppose, of your aspect warrior in Warhammer 40,000. These are kind of honed blades masters to perfection, the kind of slice arrows in half as they shoot towards them, decapitate enemy generals, all that sort of cool stuff. So a very cool.
Sans les drapeaux, c'était écœurant. Non, moi j'adore les drapeaux.
Really kind of dynamic poses as well in a way that maybe you probably couldn't have achieved in a kind of rank and file style unit. So really kind of gone to town with the dynamics.
Lumineth Realm Lords, Blade Lords.
The banners behind them as well. They're quite impressive, imposing miniatures. They're still human sized.
Yeah, these are, as you say, really impressive. That connectivity to the world that was is lovely, but they're still striking and unique in that way that the Lumineth have really sort of established themselves. I think these are going to be
sick à convert en samouraï. Ouais,
vraiment. They are super choppy.
They are super.
So you will fool the last samurai.
Anyone who's played Warhammer Fantasy Battle back
Fool the last samurai. J'aime vraiment la vibe asiatique, ouais.
Will be familiar
non, vraiment, là.
An elite double-handed unit of
the great swords sont nice.
I'm a super fan of almost everything about these models, actually. Just looking at them, I really like the helmets. I think they've got a really unique and interesting aesthetic, and I'm already eyeing those helmets up for like a range of different things. Like I can see those sitting on Eldar units, or on, absolutely, I'm like, oh, that would make a really nice looking unit of Aiden Athipkin something at some point. I'm also a really big fan of back banners on anything, really. So it's
not
a nice,
least because it's a useful handle to guys.
I just like I think you can really personalize kind of miniatures, and there's something.
Je veux voir le bolt thrower.
On
dirait qu'il y avait un shield en avant.
Classic nostalgic Warhammer for me. I remember in like the 80s and 90s, if you looked at like Eldar armies or even some of the Warhammer armies that had loads of banners within them, there was something really nice about being able to kind of see at a distance the iconography and unit formations. Something very Warhammer, I think, about.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so this one has me very excited. Eddie, what are we looking at?
So this is sorry, I can't get the name right.
It's all right. It's a Star Shard Ballista.
That's exactly it. So
Star Shard Ballista.
Again, a classic elven archetype. The war machines of the elves are all
le mega quiver.
Still deadly, and this is very much in that theme. So as you can see, it's multiple firing, enormous bolts that are taller than an elf. and will probably skewer, you know, multiple ranks of infantry and/or monsters depending on whatever the target's going to be. But it also adds some really interesting dynamics to the army as well, because it means you can start to kind of really lean into that ranged aspect.
Nice.
Elven armies, and especially
avec l'angle de la miniature, on dirait qu'il souffle dans quelque chose ici. Confirmed Luminette Bolt Spitters. Si ça marche aussi bien que ceux des Skinks, ça va être OP. Ça va être OP. Il souffle dedans, on dirait. Fait que Ren -4, c'est ça qu'ils disent, là? Ouais, clairement. Imagines-tu la range de ça si les archers normaux sont trop bas? Ça va être une règle juste genre can reach anything on the battlefield, genre. N'importe où.
Imagine like a magical warding fence, which is a pretty fun little addition that I discovered as I was looking into these.
And it's nice as well because that
finalement bien fait de pas vendre ma boîte de luminettes, nice.
And the elves are like, oh, that's too unsubtle. We need something magical.
Ah, c'est une pièce de terrain, ça?
So this is a really unexpected centerpiece. The chat have immediately picked up on it and been quite excited. I think it's beautiful. What have we got?
I think it's genuinely beautiful. This is a Luminor shrine, I think I'm right in saying. Yep. And this is absolutely a centerpiece for your army. It's a focal point of Haitian magic. And the idea in game terms is that you put your wizard at the center of this, and they can channel the power of the elements. And you can imagine the elemental forces of nature kind of swirling around this. You've got the kind of power
of the faction terrain,
the kind of mountainous structure. You've got the water and the rivers flowing through it. You can imagine it buffeted by winds from all directions, and it's kind of a focal point of a natural energy within the realms of Haïch or elsewhere. But it's just a beautiful piece, isn't it? I mean,
ça te donne des bonus au cast.
At the center of your army,
le ogre player qui bave un peu.
A war machine heavy force. It will immediately give your army just a really great looking thing to put on the battlefield, whether you use it as a piece of terrain or not. It's just a wonderful model to add to your collection.
Non, je pense que c'est juste un terrain piece, mais c'est pas un faction scenery, je pense pas.
The sculpting and the level of detail that's been put into it by the miniature design team to the whichever heavy metal painter has brought it to life. That just the texture of the water as it flows down, the really rich blue, it just looks fantastic. Big fan. Oh, okay, so this is the thing that most excited me. Who have we got?
So, Adam, I'm not even going to try for the name. I think you've got it in front of you at some point.
I'll read it as it's written. It is Lyrior Ulthral, Warden of Emetrica.
Ok, c'est un name character de Emetrica.
Tyrion's right-hand man in the Mortal Realms. He is he's probably the most renowned of the generals of the Lumineth.
Nice.
He is famed in the Lumineth for being completely logical and taciturn, utterly ruthless in battle.
Oh damn, Darius avec le sub!
So he's kind of your,
dude, thank you!
You're kind of one of the big players.
Gift sub, tier 2, un sub à matin, t'es en feu, man! Woo! Thanks! Ah, lui il est vraiment nice, là. C'est le name character de la version qu'on avait vue avant, là. C'est pas Tyrion, mais il est nice en salle, alors c'est clair. Mais c'est le right-hand man de Tyrion. Héros dans le chat, j'ai déjà hâte de le tuer. Bon. J'ai déjà hâte de tuer tes tortues, Héros, moi. Oups, déjà fait. Avec mes donettes, je pense que j'ai développé une sorte de fétichiste de mon tueur. Ça arrive, ces choses-là. Ça arrive, ces choses-là. Les Cavalos Elfos, ouais, c'est ça. Le Lore Seeker.
The extra weirdness and wonderfulness of the Mortal Realms is brought to life in the kind of crazy magical creatures that they have accompanying them, similar to the way that I suppose that Stormcast and some of the other armies in Age of Sigmar have. But the
Lore Seeker
creatures, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Raph, certainly keep telling us.
C'est un héros, ça, je pense que oui.
Has shown us the next thing, which is a Sinari Lore Seeker, which, as I understand it, is both a.
Oh, c'est un Sinari.
A decent warrior and a wizard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Fait que au lieu d'un Catalar, tu vas pouvoir prendre aussi un Lore Seeker qui va probablement avoir accès au lore des Sinari. C'est probablement un wizard.
The crux of the two major Lumineth societies, one of the Blade and one of Magic,
nice.
Obviously represent the twin aspects of Tyrion and Teclis. So in one hand he has the sword, which is reminiscent of Tyrion's sword. On the other hand he has the staff, reminiscent of Teclis' staff, and he is a lore seeker. So his job effectively is he's a lone warrior that journeys out into the mortal realms. He seeks ancient artifacts and pieces of knowledge and magic to gather.
Ouais, c'est ça que je me suis dit aussi. Mais veux-tu vraiment pas prendre une quête à l'heure? Non, mais probablement que tu sais, ça fitterait mieux dans des listes où ce que tu prends pas Teclis, puis que t'as plus de place pour des héros. Tu peux jouer avec un Lore Seeker et une quête à l'heure. Parce que là, le livre va vraiment s'ouvrir, là. On va voir plus de variété, là.
There's more than an echo of the old lore masters of Hoeth. Somebody else in the chat has picked up on that as well.
I think that, yes, absolutely. This is very much that.
Bon, les règles d'un premier. Si ces règles fit avec le fluff, ils disent il va sûrement avoir des bonus contre les characters et artefacts. Nice. Nice.
This is a masterpiece of balance. Put it carefully in your figure case.
Ça fait penser à Silesk.
Eddie, who are these?
Again, Adam, if you could say the names. I've got the info, right, so you've got them written in front of you.
So I do. I've cheated, and I've got a sheet with some cheat notes. These are, forgive me, whoever wrote the names if I say them wrong, Eliana and Elithor, Eclipsian war sages, and they are, as I understand it, a pair of twins. One of each has been sort of chosen by Tiré and Teclis.
That is absolutely true. So these are the rising stars of the Lumineth faction at the moment. So if you remember, Tiré and Teclis, way back in the world that was, were very much this kind of young twins who kind of came to prominence and harnessed their various skills and were kind of the epitome of excellence. Particular expertise. This is exactly what's true of these.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de ces modèles-là?
The mage there,
J'aime bien.
J'aime bien.
Le budget de Zo pour quand tu veux pas mettre 800 points de héros dans ta liste.
Again, the masterful swordsman who has already defeated most great champions of the Lumineth in ritual duels of various and you can see
Elithor, c'est-tu Elithor? Quand même badass, ça pose avec la Great Sword. Eclipsian War Sages. Je peux-tu avoir la même chose mais des ogres en équilibre? Des ogres, ça ressemblerait plus à un bonhomme de neige, genre deux grosses boules, une par-dessus l'autre, that's it.
The miniatures it's just beautiful, isn't it? So you've got two wonderful character models and an owl.
Est-ce que les nouveaux héros sont déjà dans le Battletome? Nope. C'est probablement des War Scrolls qui vont sortir dans le prochain Broken Realms.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and the owl, in answer to the question in chat, the owl does have a name. It is, I'm probably going to murder it, but it looks very much like Athene, which is, that's a nod to some real world history, and obviously owls in their place in wisdom. So
j'espère que la connexion ou le pied est solide.
Of course. There's still more to go, right?
Who's that? Who's that?
I'd forgotten just how much stuff there was. This is a Scenari Calligrave.
Un autre Scenari.
I'll let you do the explanation on who and what they do, but we have to start with his shoes, right?
So absolutely. So Scenari Calligrave, as the name might indicate, is to do with using the power of runes and calligraphy to create magics. And their particular specialism is that they can channel the elemental forces of the landscape through parchment and runes that they've stored, and unleashing those powers by kind of rewriting the runes onto the parchment, which then translates that power into the landscape itself. And their
juste mal collé le easy to build dans la base. Tout ce qui te reste à faire, c'est clipper un peu plus, le pousser, puis le satisfying clip.
So if you imagine that the stilt shoes allow him to separate himself from the landscape around him in order to better control it. So that's
so cool. I love the fact that the paper is or the parchment is sort of floating, so you know, paper following you around as you do your daubings, and it really does give rise to the pennies mightier than the sword sort of.
You can't quite see it on the angle of this this miniature here, but he's got a paintbrush there, and he's painting an elven rune onto the piece of paper, and the little thing in the lantern above him there is effectively purified ether quartz realm stone from the realm of Haish, and he's painting liquefied realm stone onto the magical parchment to enhance the power of the spells that he's casting.
Nice.
Yep, and frankly, best hand ever. Right.
Here's a contender.
Goku!
So, there's a lot to say about this guy. This is a Hurricane Wind Mage.
Yeah, so we've seen already the elves that harness the
wind
power of the
mage.
mountain. This guy very much harnessing the power of the wind, or the hurricane, as the Lumineth refer to it. And as you can see, it kind of does what it says on the tin, really. He flies around on a cloud, bashing people with a mace and casting spells.
So good.
He has a lot of synergy with some of the other wind-based Lumineth units that we've seen already. And very fast, force multiplying, some combat skill, magic hero on a very interesting and unusual miniature as well. So it's a lot of fun for a lot of reasons, both in game and miniature wise.
Yeah, and in answer to Monty McMammoth's question, what on earth? The answer is not what on earth, it's what in heavens, because that thing's floating around like a cloud. Sorry, couldn't help it. It's exciting. Right, let's not.
Ooh, le standard bearer.
We've also got a Venari banner blade.
Yeah, banner blade.
How much stuff there was.
There's loads of Lumineth stuff. Loads of Lumineth stuff. So this is effectively your army standard bearer of the Lumineth, and this is Venari. So he's one of the warrior caste of Lumineth, and that enormous banner that he's got there.
C'est ce qu'on dit.
From the lore perspective, is actually made.
Petite bannière grosse caquette,
of light itself, which is why that great enormous thing that looked like it'd be really heavy is able to be wielded, because all he's really holding is the pole. The banner itself is composed of the light of Haish itself.
Pour faire du freehand, ouais, c'est clair.
The symbols on it probably are alive and writhing and change and illuminate and all that sort of stuff.
Faut pas trop qu'il vente.
A beautiful model to add to your collection. Again, a really nice centerpiece, something to kind of really take your time over and make look beautiful, and would look really cool, I think, next to those big phalanxes of pikemen that we've already seen in the Lumineth Force. A really nice model, and obviously has in-game benefits as well. So I think we'll be.
Juste dire que le fait que le manche touche pas à terre, un petit coup de vent, ça calisse le camp à terre. Il doit avoir un esti de bras là. Hein? Solide bras là.
That's true. Yeah, I think we might have seen parts or bits of this model already. This is the non-special character version of the Spirit of the Wind, and effectively what happens in Haish is the Lumineth can harness the elemental forces, and the way they do this with the power of the wind is they forge the helmet bit, and then the power of the wind embodies forges into that sort of thing, and then the spirit kind of coalesces around it, so that the helmet bit is Lumineth forged, and the rest of it is basically just what mortals perceive as the power of the wind.
Plus fort que ton col, mais juste son bras droit.
And as you'd expect, it's super fast.
Faut juste pas que commence comme dans 40K en 8ème, t'avais 3-4 livres pour faire une liste. Ouais, on souhaite pas ça, c'est sûr.
Somebody asked
What?
Was the banner on the
What the fuck?
Sculpted on or freehand? I believe it is sculpted detail.
Sérieux?
So,
un nouveau. Oh my god.
To replicate if you are.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yes, this rounds out the Lumineth extravaganza. There's a new battle tome.
Yeah, so all the stuff we've seen is going to be available in a new battle tome, which also includes all the stuff that is currently available.
Il vient de sortir.
Well, if you already have the current Lumineth battle tome, there will be another way to get hold of the rules, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail in the future. So if you've got the battle tome already, you don't necessarily need to buy the new one, but there will be another way to get hold of those brand new rules.
Oh. Oh, avez-vous compris?
It's back to our faces, but only momentarily. Raph is keen that we continue on this merry journey.
On n'a pas nécessairement besoin du nouveau livre si on a déjà un vieux livre, il va y avoir une autre. Fait que d'après moi, ils vont être dans Broken Realms aussi.
Let's go to this
Ok, on en reparle après. On en reparle tantôt. Next up! Oh shit!
Those who defy me will know only torment.
Night Hunt? Oh shit, Night Hunt! Monte le son, ouais. Damn! Probablement un warband, right? Peut-être?
Well, welcome back. That was pretty exciting. A preview of what is known as a Krollgast Cruciator for the Nighthaunt armies. Eddie, give us the lowdown.
Non, c'est juste un modèle.
This is, as you quite rightly say, Adam, a new Nighthaunt hero. It's been a little while, actually, since we've seen some new Nighthaunt. We obviously saw a lot of them at the start of this edition of
ouais, t'avais raison, Gab.
The Soul Wars battle box, but we haven't seen a huge amount of them since. And this guy adds a very different angle to them. So you can see he looks like he means business. He looks like a pretty unpleasant fellow. And this is effectively a torturer in life whose tortures have kind of followed him into the afterlife, as Nagash obviously enjoys a little bit of irony.
You better don't, please.
let's call them followers, possibly /slaves. And his particular thing is to create torment and terror on the battlefield, and kind of not just kill you, but also probably torture your soul in some unpleasant and unseemly ways. So a downright unpleasant character, but a very fun model, and a very something a little bit different for Nighthaunt armies.
Yeah, I think
want to buy more Nighthaunt.
To see the Nighthaunt getting a little more love. They're a very popular force, I think, not least because obviously they occupy the other half of the Soul Wars box, and so I imagine there's a lot of people who'll be quite excited to add a new hero model to their force, which is always nice.
And there will be, over the course of the next few months,
cool,
quite a lot of interesting heroes joining the factions of the Mortal Realms. A couple of them we'll show you today, him being the first, and then I think we have another one to show you.
Oh. Ah, le voilà. Stormcast!
None shall question his faith. None shall stay his wrath.
Damn. Il vient de dropper du ciel, c'est quand même nice. La pose est quand même nice. Superhero landing! Landing soon!
Well, Adam, I know you're particularly excited about this character, so do you want to tell everyone what we've just seen?
I mean, I imagine he doesn't need much introduction to the faithful who follow the Black Library novels set in the Mortal Realms. This guard is Steel Soul. He's the lead character in a cracking novel by Josh Reynolds called The Black Pyramid. He's the leader of one of the storm hosts for the Stormcast Eternals, and he's everything you'd want in a hero. The pose is fantastic. It's as the eagle-eyed on the internet spotted when they saw that silhouette go out that sort of teased him. It's faithful reproduction of the cover of that book.
Nice.
And it's just fantastic. I personally love my favourite character within the Stormcast Eternal range is the Lord Celestin on foot with the big hammer cloak and the rune sword and the warhammer. And this is just dialed.
Check-moi bien en acheter 10 puis changer tous mes héros à cette pose-là.
And I imagine that a number of Stormcast Eternal collectors, whether they're Hallowed Knights faithful, as it were, or just doing other warrior chambers and other storm hosts, they're probably going to be pretty hyped too. What else is there to say? I can tell you what his weapons are, but I don't think you need to know. You know, he has a Sigmarite Warblade and a Warhammer. Sorry, Sigmarite Runeblade and a Warhammer, which is what he's always had. But he comes with that cool bear head for me, not like raw bear, as in, you know, like not wearing something head. And then there's a helmet option as well. So if you don't want him to be Gardas, potentially you could hide his head. It's rad. Stormcast with bear heads look the best.
I think the other thing that's worth saying about him is he was a major player in the events of the Realmgate Wars right at the start of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So he's one of the heroes that basically went into the Realm of Life to fight the forces of Nurgle. He ended up being effectively a hero of the Ever Queen, kind of protecting the Realm of Life, going up against all sorts of horrible, unpleasant things that the Plague God sent forward. He went into the Plague Garden itself for a brief spell, kind of waded through that, squishing Nurglings, and
came out like an absolute hero. So yeah.
So he's very cool. Very cool.
The lore around him is fantastic. It's really well conceived. I know Vandus was kind of the poster boy for the Stormcast Eternals, but sort of those original lore books, Guard of Steel Soul really rises up, and was much of the inspiration behind the warrior chamber that I cooked up for my own Hallowed Knights. There is no doubt that I will be adding him to my collection.
Master Bible!
I'm super hyped.
Vamps!
Right. Go on.
I read now, get out of here!
Space Marines in Warhammer 40,000, where a lot of the time we see the Ultramarines or the kind of the gold equivalent for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but there's some very, very cool characters that live in the periphery of some of the other storm hosts, much as there are with the different chapters of Space Marines. So I think he's your equivalent to something like a Dante or a Azrael or something, who's doesn't get to be on the cover of every book, but is at least as cool, if not more so.
You know they're the best, really. Right. Right, let's hit it, Raph. Go to the next thing.
Oh, next thing. Knight! A grave danger! Ooh! No? Wait. That was not... C'était pas un vampire, ça, right? Des Black Knights? Oh, a White King. Okay. A White King.
To quote JJ Talamantes in the chat, holy wow! A White King, Eddie, what's the deal?
So this is a White King. So we are familiar with this character already because we have seen a version of him on foot, who's been available as a plastic miniature for some time now. This is a brand new incarnation of a character that stretches way back into the annals of Warhammer history, and an incredible rendition of the character. This is a very impressive looking undead skeletal
ça
hero.
Va tellement chialer sur Twitter.
Steed, very, very baroque.
Mais probablement que ça fait partie du nouveau Soulblight Gravelords, right?
Of the Death Forces with those kind of bat wings and skeleton bits.
Peut-être pas non plus. Ils ont dit qu'il allait avoir des héros, comme on a vu avec le Nighthaunt, avec Stormcast, genre des héros seuls.
For me, there's a lot of nostalgia going on for this.
Un pas vampire.
Harks back to some of the very old Warhammer artwork from even things like Warhammer Armies Undead, and some of the artwork in that's finally the miniatures technology has kind of caught up with and delivered and absolutely.
Le modèle est hot par contre, ça on peut pas dire non là.
Yeah, no doubt. So who's this for? What's the?
So this is a Soulblight character. So he will be sitting alongside leading things like Black Knights or skeletons. And it's probably worth saying that this guy is the tip of the lance of what will be a slightly expanded range of Soulblight stuff. So there is Soulblight to look forward to if you like the look of this character.
Confirmed Soulblight.
Stay tuned. Maybe even more in this preview. Who knows? We might have more.
Oh, maybe more in this preview, guys.
I think it's worth taking a little bit of time just to appreciate this model.
Okay.
What it is, because it's
ça s'en vient, guys. Ça s'en vient.
We've obviously seen some in things like Underworlds. We've seen a little bit of a hint of some of the things that might be coming in First City.
Okay.
But we haven't seen a character skeleton.
Je pense que ça confirme que
well worth the wait.
Ça confirme que Soulblight sera pas juste des vampires, ça va être une genre de faction leadée par des vampires, puis il va y avoir des death models à l'intérieur, genre on va voir des squelettes très probablement, fait que peut-être que ça va complètement remplacer le Legions of Nagash. Enfin une raison de jouer un Lord Exorcist.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat has hit on the exact thing that I was thinking about before we went live today. Two Men in Metal Men said the White King on foot is a really great model as well. This is a great upgrade. It looks like some classic art. And I totally agree with that sentiment. This really reminds me of some proper old school Warhammer art. And the credit is split between the miniatures designer, which has created all these wonderful areas of mixed texture and stuff, and then the very painterly
Les vampires appartiennent à Nagash. Oui, mais il va peut-être avoir un shift dans le lore prochainement. Who knows?
Yeah, and he's going to look wonderful at the head of like a Black Knight charge, isn't he? So you've got the White King on foot already, who is also an absolutely wonderful model.
Je vais trader mes lunettes.
Very, very well. But this is obviously much more dynamic now. It's quite a big miniature by the time you put it on the tabletop. So
I think that's a 60 mil base, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big old guy. So if you remember the old, I've got a couple of them actually. The old White Kings on. Metal.
Vraiment sick pour que ton héros death soit capable de follow tes riders, ouais. Mais j'ai hâte de voir le reste. En tout cas, il semble dire qu'on va voir davantage de la faction plus tard. Hein. Il est juste 9h30, guys. En principe, on en a pour 45 minutes, 1 heure. On va peut-être bien avoir un autre petit teaser.
Again, I just can't wait to see what people do when they paint him because it's just so much fun textures to play with.
Yeah, there are some miniatures you look at, and, this is going to appear in Golden Demons and stuff in the future, and this is definitely one of those guys. The textures and areas are just going to be fantastic. And yeah, a big shout out to Shield. Somebody in the chat said it. That Shield is straight out of old school Warhammer in all of the best ways, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, unapologetically skull-tastic, isn't it?
Oh, it's just so great.
There's no subtlety in that model. It's like wings and skeletons and all the gothic all the time.
Ça manque de STD.
And Cygnus Maximus, my information says it's a 60 mil oval, but we don't need to fight. We can wait a few months and we'll see it in the flesh. Right.
Or not, as it were.
Oh, well, ooh, yeah, good. Right, in that case,
next up,
let's get a wriggle on and see the next preview.
Underworlds. Moi je veux des auruques, lève là. Ouh. Un nouveau Vergog Prophet. Nice!
Head Cracker's Mad Mob is my understanding of what we just saw.
That is absolutely true, Adam. And as I think the chat has quite rightly noted, this is a Bone Splitters warband, some savage Uruks, and a very, very impressive looking warband. I think we were saying as we watched it, I don't think we've seen a bad set of miniatures for Warhammer.
Ça manque de tatou.
Absolute perfect.
Tu peux les rajouter toi-même.
Of their particular
Easy.
And there's no exception. I think absolutely every miniature in this particular warband is a joy. One of the things that I really like about Oryx generally, Orcs, all greenskins, is they just seem to be having like an absolute ball. Like they're just so joyous.
There's not a sad guy among them, is there?
Who's about to you brain someone with what appears to be a dinosaur's jawbone is just having the best time. I really like the face on the shaman on the
so good, isn't it?
It's really different. It's really fun. It's going to lend itself really well to some like fun, interesting paint schemes.
Ils auront pas leur 6+.
Every model in there is fun, and I think the thing that's really cool for me is it's been a long time since we've seen anything new from a kind of Savage Uruk perspective, and obviously that. The regiment box sets, they're all in fairly similar poses. So while the miniatures were very cool, they were relatively similar.
Moi qui viens d'acheter 40 Savage,
these ones are in a range of different fun poses. Which
by the way, guys, n'oubliez pas que à la fin du preview, on refait un retour. Restez sur le chat si vous voulez jaser. Restez sur le stream. On refait un retour avec l'article sur tous les reveals d'aujourd'hui. Fait qu'on va pouvoir en repasser comme du monde sur chaque chose puis en rejaser là.
Maybe surprisingly for Oryx, is a warband which offers threat in multiple areas. You've got some really heavy hitting close combat, you've got decent ranged firepower, and you've got magic. So they're sort of a multi-threat element, which is going to be great for embracing the meta of Warhammer Underworlds, as well as with those different textures, all that great skin area and everything, fantastic painting opportunities. I think whatever your proclivity is, if you're just playing Age of Sigmar, if you're sort of into the sort of gaming meta of Underworlds, or you just want a really sweet painting projects.
Logan Wolverine.
Right here.
Oof.
Yeah, and I think with all Auric greenskin models, there's plenty of potential here to use these miniatures beyond the game they're originally set for. So I'm sure we'll see them cropping up in all sorts of Warhammer Age of Sigmar armies. I'm already eyeing up that shaman for a snakebite warp head of some sort for a Warhammer 40,000 army. He lends himself really well. We were trying to decide what the snake was called, if it was a Snwig or something, or some kind of squig snake of some sort.
So, somebody in the chat has somewhat broken me by calling it a danger noodle, which I've never heard of before. and it's the perfect.
You need to spend more time on the internet, or maybe
a danger noodle.
I tend to spend my time on the internet pogo fragging people, so I guess we'll see. Yeah, I just think there's a lot to like. In terms of what you get there, just people who tuning in and wondering, in terms of Underworlds, you get all the stuff you would normally get. So you've got your full fighter cards, you've got your rules for their primacy, and then you've got all your upgrade cards, your objective cards, gambits, employees, everything you'd expect to fill out your full Warhammer Underworlds experience. I guess that covers them off quite nicely. The lore behind these guys is quite good fun. What's bringing them into the Beast Grave is, these the Bone Splitters are just ultimate hunters. They're incredibly feral and savage, and they've come for a good time.
I think that the particular thing is they like to find the biggest, scariest monster they can find and kill it and eat its bones. Basically, that's one of their things. And they've identified that the mountain might count as a monster. So they're like, maybe the mountain counts as a monster. Can we kill the mountain? I mean, I'm not sure I fancy the chances, but I admire their enthusiasm.
Yeah,
cool.
And I guess in terms of names, you've got the big boss who's called Tooth Dagger, and you've got his boys Sharp Sticker and Wallop the Skull.
Wallop.
J'ai jamais vu de liste pure savage. Ça a sa place dans les Auric Warclans, ça se fait.
I think the Archer might be my favorite, you know, just because I don't think we've seen like ever seen a savage Auric Archer, certainly not in plastic, actually firing his bow. All the ones we've got currently are kind of waving their bows and arrows around, enthusiastically looking like they're about to use them as clubs. But I really like him. I like his little kind of bird totem that he's got. He's got a kind of wild native sort of look to him that kind of fits really nicely. And they all look like they're going to be a blast to paint as well. There's lots of kind of feathers and top knots and things that can lend themselves to quite exciting, colourful paint schemes.
I agree. It's the shaman dancing for me all day. There's a question in the chat that I am going to address. I just saw it out of the corner of my eyes. Was, is there any lore behind why there is no bowstring? Bowstrings on models are a subject of hot debate.
Pelletier 21, thank you pour le follow. Bienvenue parmi nous.
The debate over whether models should be based on plastic.
Il n'y a même pas de corde sur son arc, what the fuck.
Never gone away. Some people like them, some people don't.
C'est vrai qu'il n'y a pas de corde.
Put it on yourself.
They're done. No more strings.
I found it very difficult in my past. Raph, where are we at? Of course, there is more Underworld's goodness. How could I forget? You explained this one to me really well before we began, Eddie, but what we're looking at here is a Warhammer Underworld's starter set, right?
That is exactly right. So this is Warhammer Underworlds has been around for quite a long time now, and there's loads of different warbands and cards and things that you can choose to get if you want. And if you've been with us since the start of Warhammer Underworlds, it's been a great journey, and you've had loads of fun with it, and there's loads of ways to play, and you've now got loads of cards and things to choose from.
Tu fais juste believe que la flèche à part comme les orques de 40K.
You could potentially explore, and this box
Ça se peut bien, ouais.
a really easy way for you to jump into a really great game system. It has 2 complete decks of cards. And 2 warbands that are ready to go. So there's no deck building necessarily in this.
Ouais, c'est ça. Si là, croit qu'il y a une corde, l'arc va tirer.
C'est peut-être ça. C'est peut-être comme ça. You can use those cards if you want to kind of expand.
Okay, 2-player starter set.
But if you want a self-contained game in a box, this absolutely does that for you. And then if you want to and you enjoy this set, you can obviously choose to then dive into the wider Underworld's ecosystem and add whatever factions and expansions and new cards and things.
Cool.
But as a kind of first step into the dangers of the Warhammer Underworlds, this starter set is designed to be a very easy, accessible way in without needing to worry too much about what the meta of Warhammer Underworld is necessarily up to in a given week or month.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a solid way if you know maybe you sat through these previews or your gaming group that you socialise with is into Underworlds and you're looking for a way to dip your toe in. This is a really good one. Yeah. You've got 2 solid warbands. You've got the Storm of Celestis fighters, and you've got Drepper's Wraith Creepers, which is a Glaive Wraith Stalker warband. So it's everything you need to get off the ground and start exploring the I guess the ultimate competitive miniatures game.
And I think crucially as well, it will cost you less than the core sets for Warhammer Underworlds as well. So it's a nice, easy, accessible in both the way that it's you don't need to know anything else about the game to enjoy it and play it, and also in the sense that it won't cost you very much to give it a go. And I think what you'll find is that it's a super cool game, and you'll want to play loads more. But here's a great place to start.
Yeah. So in answer to your question, Coach Coco, lower price point, nice and easy access. Get in if you fancy it. Does that round out this segment, Raph?
Next up.
Awesome. So we are left with, I think, the biggest section of our presentation still to go. If you thought we had a lot to show you in the Luminous section, wait till you get a load of this.
Oh baby. Oh baby. Curse City. Oh, c'est-tu un nouveau Vargulf? What? The wolf. Damn.
Oh, my flabber is gone. Warhammer Quest Curse City.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is Warhammer Quest Curse City, the brand new installment in the Warhammer Quest box game series. This is set in the cursed city of Ulthuan, which we know already, and we see a band of heroes.
Big hype, les gars, big hype.
Facing off against the forces of a cursed city led by a family of vampires, but with all the kind of accompanying undead, shambling, bone-based or rotting minions you would normally expect.
Oh man, checkez au nombre de minis que vous avez.
Stuff in this box. There's all the stuff you'd expect from a Warhammer Quest. We've seen things with this like Blackstone Fortress before. Comparable amount of things, but I think when we were looking at this box, Adam, we were both kind of thinking this might be the best game in a box that we've ever made.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I hate to feel like I repeat myself or that
it's one of your catchphrases.
But just blows my mind. This like we'll cover this all in more detail, right, guys?
Sacrément, ça va me coûter cher.
We'll spend plenty of
Vibe
time
Darkest Dungeon, c'est moi, ouais, quand même,
everything you see in there is in the set, and everything you see in the set is just awesome. It's hundreds of hours worth of building, painting, and playing, just waiting to be unpackaged and enjoyed with your friends. And it's built on a modified version of, but the really solid foundation of the Warhammer Quest game that you'll know from things like Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing Blackstone Fortress over the last few years, and I think I'm very much looking forward to jumping into a brand new setting. So I think we can probably start to have a look at some of the
yeah, Raph, if you want to take us on a tour. So, as Eddie alluded to, there are in fact 8 hero models contained within the set. Each of them has their own identity and their own character, and they're all awesome and give you just a little bit more of an insight into the mortal realms. I've got the names in front of me. Do you know who these ones all are?
You can take the names, Adam.
My problem is sometimes matching the name to the person. I definitely know, for example, Jelson Darroch first on our left. So he's, well, you can introduce who he is.
So we know a little bit about him already. He was the first model we saw for this box set. He is a witch hunter / demon hunter / vampire hunter, and as you can see, he is kitted out for the job. He has a whole bunch of stakes, including a stake rifle, a rifle that also fires silver bullets at things. He's got a hammer because you can't have enough hammers, and he is if you imagine that the witch hunters of the mortal realms are some of the most pleasant and
sick
ruthless individuals, and this guy was kicked out of the order for being too extreme. You get a sense of the kind of guy that this guy might be. So he literally takes no prisoners. So he's a mean piece of work,
and I think he's for many people the favorite of the set. My favorite is Captain Imelda Braskov, who is the model in the center. She is a Knight of Azir, and I love everything about what this could potentially imply.
A Knight of Azir,
mortal warrior, great big broadsword. It's like a glimpse into some of the maybe martial structures that could exist in some of the sort of the cities of Sigmar and the mortal realms. I absolutely, for me, she totally does it. Fantastic model.
I think my favourite might be the next guy, flawless segue.
I believe this is Dagnai Holdenstock.
That is true. No, so I think
no, wait.
That's the.
All right, in that case, how about? Is this Glario van Alten III?
That is him, yeah. So this guy is effectively a noble from the city of Ulthuan.
Cool.
And the law, which we'll dive into in much more detail of Ulthuan, is that there were several kind of noble bloodlines which ruled the city.
Avec le gun,
the vampire bloodline,
la longue épée en arrière.
Overtook the city in a night of blood.
Sa face a l'air bizarre, on dirait. Je sais pas si c'est ses dents qu'on voit ou si c'est juste du blanc dans sa moustache ou sa barbe. Son gun, c'est un rumor engine, ouais, c'est vrai.
the vampires who were in charge.
Hey, salut Jason, à la prochaine. Merci d'être passé.
The chat has gone wild with how much swag he's got, which I think is
he's got a lot of swagger. So he has heirloom weapons basically of his ancestral house, which kind of trace their way back to the age of myth. So he's got kind of his grandfather's sword and pistol that's been handed down through generations. But he also looks like he means business. Like he's got some pretty heavy-duty armor at the same time as looking like he's very well dressed. I love the kind of
Kenton Six des dents.
The air of kind of aristocracy that he's got, but at the same time looking like he would probably.
Littéralement le même dude que dans Blackstone Fortress. Ah ouais.
It has to be said, and somebody in the chat has picked up on it as well. There's a little bit of a shade of Janus Drake in here as well, and that sits really nicely for me. It's like his sort of his cousin from across the the cosmos or whatever. I love it.
There's a the thing for me that I really we've gone further. I'm going to do one more thing there before we jump.
A big boy.
The thing that I really like about him is he reminds me of the Imperial Noble from the very first Warhammer Quest ever.
Yes,
who was in that kind of super fancy.
Il ressemble beaucoup. Ah ouais.
But Warhammer Age of Sigmar up, so looks like he much more kind of serious and gritty, but still has the kind of air of nobility of that character. But anyway, let's talk about these.
V'là ton caradron, Alex.
Starting at the left, we have Qualphis the X.
Alex qui attendait le caradron.
Yeah, so this is a Kenothi hunter. We've seen a little bit of the Kenothi.
Kurnothi qu'on avait déjà vu.
We know they have connections to the realm of beasts and the realm of life. Kurnoth is the elven god of the hunt, who may or may not still be around in the mortal realms, but has that kind of aspect of antlers and hunting and kind of wild places, basically. And all of those things are captured in this model. Just a really beautiful model. We've seen a bit of it already, but I kind of just love everything about it.
Full caradron reveal.
Her arrows are made of the branches of the Oak of Ages Past, which is heavily hinted to be the Oak of Ages from yonder times. But basically, the cool thing about them is that if you shoot them at someone who is impure or the undead, they burst into flames, which is pretty special. So.
The chat has gone wild for the ogre. I think it's only worth us giving him his due. This is Brutog Corpse Eater. He's an ogre of the Gnawing Fist clan. And he's a slab of meaty death, isn't he?
Il est aussi gros qu'un glouton, il a l'air gros quand même.
Is Corpse Eater, which might imply why he turned up at the
Corpse Eater,
which is full of undead. Ogre's obviously famous for being super hungry all the time, and this particular guy has a particular taste for the undead, so he's slightly less wholesome reason to be showing up to save the city maybe than some of the other heroes, but we'll take it, that's fine.
My understanding is he once won a bet and ever since has enjoyed the taste of the undead, and he quite literally wants to eat Radukar.
Yeah.
Son armure est malade.
So we need to just quickly.
Son armure est malade.
Poor old.
Hey, merci Yann. Ouais, on se voit mardi. Bonne journée, hein. Merci d'être passé.
He has a bare head, which is unusual for a Caradron.
Avec sa shoulder plate, sit là.
Yeah, he's also got like a harpoon gun and an axe, which is just super cool. And then one of the things that's interesting about this character is that the mechanism that your heroes use to arrive at the city is in a Caradron vessel, and he is the captain of that vessel. I think I'm right in saying. So
that's my understanding as well.
He's a pretty cool character, but it's just really nice to see a new hero level.
La shoulder plate d'en face de Oni, ouais, vraiment ça coche.
Raph would like to keep it rolling. We have two slightly more eldritch characters.
Ouais, c'est quoi ça?
First of all, I guess would be he says, and then has to glance over the notes that he's made. Cleona Zeitengale.
So this is effectively a mage of Sigmar who specializes in purifying, and obviously there's a lot of things to be purified in the city of Ulfenkarn, and you can see there that she has silver blades there that she imagines she's going to put to good use slaying enemies of the undead, but she's also an expert healer, so if you're looking for a kind of a band to journey into the
healer du groupe
city and you want someone to kind of keep your healers alive at the same time as being able to dish out.
Holy shit, va te faire j'achète cette boîte là juste pour avoir un bon wizard stand. Peut-être.
With her is
Peut-être.
Octron Glimscry. and the notes say that he can kill with his hollow stare, and that is the creepiest looking visage.
It looks could kill, and they can because it's Warhammer. I think when we talk about this fellow previously, Adam, we said
common creepy, eh? Common
he's,
creepy dude.
Used to be a rival or nemesis, or possibly even friends with the character that we saw revealed earlier this week, with all the various different undead familiars, Torgiliath. So he has a bone to pick, literally, with some of the nobility of Ulfin Khan. He was imagine he was the scholar that's been kind of kicked out because he didn't go along with the vampires' rebellion, and I think probably one of the ones that managed to survive with his life. So he's not happy.
So that's 8 heroes that are in the set, and you'll find them all within Warhammer Quest.
Des bats, des rats.
Just scads,
the dead rats,
of bad guys. Maybe we'll gloss over these a little more, but feast your eyes on the horriblest looking bat swarms and rat swarms.
Les nouvelles bat swarms. Nice.
The thing I super love about these is, again, they link back to my memories of the very original Warhammer Quest, where you started out on your very first level. The first baddie that would show up would be like a mix of bats.
Enfin, des nouveaux bat swarms, ouais.
And you'd be like, this is fine. And then eventually there'd be like 50 of them. You'd be like, this is a bit less fine. So they're. I really like the kind of the hark back to some of the very first origins of Warhammer Quest, but also these fitting in perfectly with that kind of gritty and horrible, decaying soul blight sort of aesthetic that
tiennent pas sur des bâtards.
They are, of course, not alone. Here
Les zombies?
Deadwalker zombies.
Deadwalkers.
Yeah, so this is the zombies effectively, and as you can see that they are previously buried, but that didn't stop them. They've risen up, and they still have their tombstones on their back. So if you imagine the undead powers of Ulfin Khan, when they find out that there's a bunch of heroes descending on them to try and slay the noble family, have gone to the graveyards of the city and raised up the populace to fight for them once more. Tombstones and all. And as you would imagine, for zombies, they are probably not the best fighters, but numerous and probably annoying to kill. So this is going to be your.
Ouais, ça faisait partie du Rumor Engine de longtemps, ça, je pense.
Somebody in chat has asked, these are great. Why do they balance the tombstones on the back? If you look closely, it's worse than that. They're actually like impaled through the tombstone and through their bodies. These are like peak grim darkness.
I like to imagine that when the people were burying them, knowing they lived in the realm of death, they were like, "Oh, we'll put a stake through the heart of the person, and that will keep them down." And it just didn't work. Like they're still going.
It's just horrible. Surely that's the peak of the bad guys, right?
Les modèles de zombies actuels sont tellement vieux. Là.
So here we have the Ulfin Watch.
The Ulfin Watch, nice.
Undead skeletal militia raised by Gorslav the Gravekeeper.
Yeah, so this is the previous, the City Watch, basically, of Ulfin Khan, and as you can see, they've seen better days. They are all skeletons, completely in the thrall to the noble house of the city, and just a really cool band of minions. So these will be kind of one-up enemies from the zombies. They're obviously better armored. They're probably more martial. They'll remember a little bit of their kind of warrior skill from the days of being alive, but probably not much beyond that. And they spend their days walking around the city, keeping guard on watch posts, basically.
Nice.
Generally keeping the population of Ulfin Khan, which is still alive and breathing, but probably not having a great time of it, very much under the iron thumb of the ruling vampire household.
And the sassiest pose on a banner bearer I've ever seen, as somebody in the chat pointed out. Now we've peaked, right? No, Raph, take us on to the next thing. There are more. So, you gave me the lowdown on these just before we came on, Eddie.
C'est quoi ça? C'est des orques?
The lead enemy in the city of Ulfin Khan, which we will come to later, is a character called Radikar the Wolf, and he initially was the savior of Ulfin Khan when he showed up to protect the city from a rampaging horde of chaos monsters, but eventually obviously corrupted the city entirety and made it his own personal feeding ground. These are some of the ogres that he brought with him when
he was the
first time. These are effectively massive undead ogres, which is a thing.
Undead ogres, damn.
Damn. They're called the Kosagi Night Guard, and yeah, I think these are sort of next level. If you imagine, we've sort of gone through the sliding scale of villainous. These are going to be hard work for your adventurers to make it through.
Ils ont l'air petits,
what
non?
I really like about them is that they one there has got the keys. So I imagine there's like a door at some point. You probably have.
C'est dur à dire des fois avec les photos comme ça. Il y a peut-être, ils sont peut-être un peu plus larges qu'on pense.
You have to take down in order to get those keys off him. And also that rat's got a key, so maybe you have to kill him or something.
Oh.
Okay.
Des thralls.
Just keeps going. Just keeps going.
So people have been screaming for vampires.
Des vampires.
Vampires you want, vampires you get.
So these are the vampiric offspring of the vampiric bloodline. They are more feral, perhaps, than we'd be familiar with, and certainly more feral than the warriors that we've seen. Some of the other soul blights recently.
Furies vampires.
But these are kind of half bestial, quick-moving feeders that will kind of run around the city, prowling on the citizens and giving your heroes a hard time. They will be deadly as anyone with the soul blight curse will be, and will hunt as a kind of bestial pack. And if you think about them as like a wolf pack of vampires, you probably won't go too far wrong.
Yeah, so they're called the Bloodborne, and as you say, these are feral and nasty. They're
the Bloodborne.
They haven't learned to exist in a sort of, I don't know, a less monstrous state yet, and so maybe they never will. And they raven around. Right, who else have we got, Raph? So this is the penultimate of our evil hero section.
Non, ça ressemble à quoi ça?
The Cursed City. We have three very distinct heroes here. I'm going to take the guy in the middle first, perhaps against the trend, who is Watch Captain Halgrim.
Yeah,
on
so
l'avait vu.
We've seen this character already. This is basically one of your end-of-level bosses for City, and he is the leader of the Ulfen Watch, which we've seen previously. His particular background is pretty grim. We've hinted at a little bit of already. He wanted to side with the uprising of the vampires when they tried to overtake the city, but the rest of the City Watch didn't think that was too good an idea, so they killed him and threw him in the storm drain to be nibbled by rats. That didn't keep him down, though, so the vampires raised him up again to be the undead warden of the city and keep an eye on their skeletal minions. So he has a tragic, but
les modèles sont vraiment insane, sérieux.
As he is both a traitor and also a skeleton at the point. So.
And we've also met previously Gorslav the Gravekeeper, who is on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, and he makes a whole bunch of sense now that we've seen.
Le gars à droite fait vraiment Guillermo del Toro, ouais, clairement.
He's the guy who goes through
avec le visage là-dedans.
On a recruitment drive.
Fancy coming for a walk.
Yeah, fancy coming for a walk. You guys with me? Let's go. So he will be the leader of that particular gaggle of unpleasant, rotting enemies that you'll need to face at some point. So a very, very creepy model, probably the creepiest model in the set.
He's a proper wronger, no doubt.
I do super love that spade though. Somewhere in the world, a Death Corps of Krieg guardsman is looking at that spade enviously.
Yes, and then the model which has certainly garnered the most attention here in the chat today is, and I want to get it right, is the Vargskir.
Vargskir. Yep, I think that's how you say it. So this a familiar sort of archetype, I suppose, with the Soul Blight, which is if your bloodlust gets the better of you, or maybe you don't manage to feed for long enough, the bestial nature of the Soul Blight curse will manifest fully, and this is basically what that looks like. So you turn into a kind of weird wolf bat monster thing, and this is one of the big bad terrors of the city. This is not an intelligent creature. This is a wild vampiric beast whose any sense of kind of sentience has been banished from its brain, and it will just hunt like a dark predator through the streets. And if your heroes come across it, as you would imagine from something of that scale, it's going to take your whole warband to take it down.
Yep. And we ain't done yet. Boom. So the what we have here is essentially the evil power behind the trouble in Ulfenkhan and his sinister right hand. So the right hand first, that is Torgilius the Chamberlain, who used to be somebody much more noble before this all went wrong.
Yeah, so he used to be the kind of right hand of the nobility, but has since fallen to the vampiric curse. And his particular thing is that he can see and control all the various vermin, undead, demi-undead creatures of Ulfenkhan. So he can watch you through the eyes of ravens and follow you through the eyes of rats and bats and things around the city. So he is his eyes everywhere, basically. He is the the spider at the center of that web of information.
Mon sentiment exact, pas un fan du chapeau du wolf, on dirait que c'est bizarre un peu.
The other guy.
Yep, and the other guy is Radukar the Wolf. He is the tyrannical master of Ulfin Khan.
Le reste du modèle est sa coche. Le hairdo est... Laisse à désirer, on dirait. C'est un vampire ogre.
Soulblight aesthetics we've maybe seen before. It kind of gives you a hint of the wider universe.
That's cool.
Mortal realms, that actually all sorts of weird and wonderful things are possible. He's got a very kind of
prendrait un autre angle. Ouais, peut-être qu'avec un autre angle serait mieux.
Pelts of the wolves on there that are kind of hint of the eventual fate, perhaps, of some of the vampires who fall to the curse of the Soulblight and become kind of bestial creatures eventually. But he has almost a kind of Eastern Russian-y sort of look, doesn't he? So
yeah, it's very much inspired by the same sort of things that I guess gave birth once upon a time to things like Kislev and so on. You can see a little bit of the Cossack maybe in there, or Ukrainian or whatever. And I think
si c'est ses cheveux, c'est encore plus ridicule.
Incredible aesthetic. I'm going to let people more versed in that sort of wax more lyrical. But for me, my favourite thing is this double wolf pelt. Those wolf skulls are enormous. There's a real sort of sense of the kind of the monstrousness that the Mortal Realms has in store, all sort of tied up in this model.
Yeah, and this is going to be your final challenge, basically. If you make it through the Cursed City all the way to the throne room of the beast itself, this is he. So he will be your final challenge to take down. But first of all, you have to get through everything else that's in the box, which is it's just all of this stuff. So as we said, 8 heroes. You've got 42 hostiles. One of the things we haven't even started to look at in any detail yet is the objective markers, which give you things like a crow with a key or kind of hanging skeleton pointing in directions, all sort of macabre indicators that you have to kind of collect as you go through the city. All sorts of things that will help you with your games. You've got rule books, quest books, dice, all the templates you'd expect. Also, crucially as well, you've got War Scroll cards for Warhammer Age of Sigmar for every single one of the characters in this box. So if you're like, you know what, those vampires look incredible, that hero looks amazing, I want to make sure I use those skeletons in my games, you absolutely can.
Ouais, l'objectif manquait avec le corbeau, ouais, je l'ai remarqué aussi.
Pretty sizable death army just out of the box in some ways, if you wanted to port those over.
Yeah, now don't worry, we'll cover like everything that we've talked about here in first of all, you'll be able to see it on the article on Warhammer Community, but also we'll cover these things in more detail as we come towards the launch date for this this new set. It's not coming alone. There's also going to be a novelization by C.L. Werner, a much loved and respected Black Library author, and there's something extra cool about this particular book, isn't there?
There is. So first and foremost, it's just a really cool story, so you can...
Ouais, 42 hostiles, 42 modèles, plus 8 héros, plus les objective markers and whatnot. Quand même un bon value pour la boîte, là, sérieux, avec tout le reste que vous avez.
Written by C.L. Werner, who has a fine history of Warhammer novels, done some of the best of our kind of Warhammer fantasy stories. If you go back and have a look at some of those, especially some of the kind of darker, grittier characters that he's explored in some of the Warhammer Legends tales, which are very grim and very dark. But one of the cool things about that book specifically is that it also comes with some extra rules, which will allow
200 pièces minimum, ça ligne, tu dis... Comment ça vaut une boîte comme ça habituellement à Warhammer Quest, je pourrais pas te dire.
You can add another hero to your warband, so you'll have 9 heroes if you pick up that book as well, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, I don't know about you, but I am borderline exhausted after all that awesome Warhammer Mortal Realms goodness.
There's a lot of cool stuff today, Adam.
Yeah, normally at this stage in the thing, I would sort of rattle through all of the awesome things that we've done. We've more lumineth than you can shake I don't know, a very finely wrought elven blade at, with new heroes and warriors and the most dynamic looking scenery piece you ever did see. We've got a new hero for the Nighthawk and the Cruciator, Guard of Steel Soul, literally dropping in out of the sky and landing in the...
On a-tu le droit à un petit quelque chose à la fin?
The White King, channeling all that sort of awesome old school...
Un petit Battle Tome Soulblight, s'il vous plaît.
For Warhammer Underworlds. And then just the staggering awesomeness that was Warhammer Quest Cursed City, fully unveiled for the first time. I'm blown away. What was your favourite bit?
I mean, it's very difficult to pick a favourite. I think, like a lot of people, I am very, very excited about Cursed City. I think almost any one of those miniatures, the heroes and some of the bad guys there, could be my favourite miniature of the year, and they all come in a box set together. So I think in terms of the amount of fun I'm going to get out of any of those releases, the Cursed City is probably going to be that one. I do have a very soft spot for anything greenskin, though, so I am also quite looking forward to picking up the Mad Mob. And I'll probably buy it twice so I can make them into some weird other Age of Sigmar and 40k based things.
Yeah, no doubt. It's got to be Gardas if I'm picking one particular thing for me. But
I thought it might have been. Yeah.
But I was so excited about Blackstone Fortress, and the Cursed City is everything to me that Blackstone Fortress was again, and I can't wait. So that one is 100% on my list.
And importantly, Adam, it looked like you had a different favourite hero than me. So if we want to go to the city together at some point,
we can have an adventure. That would be rad. I love it. All right, guys, it has been an amazing, what have we been here, an hour or so, something like that, an hour and a half nearly. It has been wonderful to share this time with you, to get super hyped about the Warhammer.
It's no chose. It's no chose.
Talk a little bit about all these models that are coming out. I'm super appreciative for Raph behind the scenes, keeping us more or less on track, bless his heart, running the technology and making sure everything worked right. For the mods in the chat who've helped make sure everything flowed smoothly, Notley, Nick, everybody else, you are heroes and we love you. And especially to you, Eddie, for being the lore master and talking us through everything. As we
always a pleasure, Adam. If you ever need me to sit with you and talk about Warhammer for an hour, that's literally my favourite thing.
Super. Right. Well, in that case, all that remains is for us to sign off, to thank you ever so much for joining us, and to leave you with one last little thing. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you soon.
I was their first son.
There it is.
The Prince of Demons. Herald of Kings. Cursed to crown my inferiors. My vengeance will come.
C'est tout. Ah, il nous le montre pas. It's over. Damn. J'avais dit que ça manquait de Slave to Darkness. Ok, guys. On n'a pas eu autant de Soulblight qu'on voudrait, mais je pense que c'était quand même un awesome reveal. Laissez-moi aller chercher l'article, puis on va repasser sur ce qui s'est dit aujourd'hui. Gang. Salut Tony! Hey! J'espère que ça va bien. C'est chiant comme fin. C'est parfait comme fin. Alright. Alright. Faisons un retour, guys. Lords of the Mortal Realm. Ok. Donc, les luminettes, right? Nouveau modèle luminette. Gros révèle des luminets, effectivement. Les Blade Lords sont sa coche. Right? Je me rappelle plus qui avait dit dans le chat qu'il trippait pas sur le drapeau. Le genre de bannière en arrière. Moi, j'adore le look. Les two-handed sont nice. Puis clairement, le leader a deux épées dans les mains. Fait que can't wait pour cette unit-là. J'aime beaucoup. Ça fait nippon. Ça, c'est les Blade Lords. On a eu le fameux Bolt Thrower. En fait, ils ont laissé le Venari Star Shard Ballistas. Donc, la fameuse baliste. Avec le gars qui souffle dedans. Nice, j'aime, j'ai hâte de voir les règles. Est-ce que ça va être aussi insane que des dudes à pied avec des arcs qui shotent à 30 pouces sans regarder où ce qu'ils tirent? Seul le temps va nous le dire. Mais bon. Est-ce que ça va être aussi du Sun Metal Weapon? Est-ce que c'est des bolts, une baliste qui va faire des mortels? Peut-être. Lord Ordinator, ouais, peut-être qu'il va y avoir un Lord Ordinator qui va pouvoir les aider. Cool. On avait le Terrain Piece, qu'on comprend, on sait pas trop c'est quoi qu'il dit. Le Shrine Luminor, Purify the most corrupt of battlefields. Ok, non. C'est tout ce que ça dit, c'est ça. Fait que j'ai pas l'impression que c'est un faction terrain. J'ai l'impression que c'est vraiment juste une pièce de scenery que vous pouvez acheter si vous voulez avoir de quoi de beau pour un display board ou pour votre table que vous jouez vos luminettes dessus, là. C'est pas laid. C'est pas laid. La cascade, c'est quand même cool, là, avec le genre de petit temple de même, là, j'haïs pas. Les genres d'arbres qui font penser à des bonsaïs, un peu, on est encore dans l'esthétique très asiatique. Hein. Ouais, c'est bien. C'est bien. Est-ce que je vais me le pogner? Non, je penserais pas. Ok, on tombe dans les héros. On a vu beaucoup de héros popper ici, là. D'ailleurs, il parle de le alternate build pour Sévirette. Je vais commencer avec lui, là. Donc, on l'avait vu déjà dans le vidéo, si je me rappelle bien. Fait que c'est... On peut avoir soit Sévirette, qui était le name character, un peu comme Avalenor et les Spirits of the Mountain, ben il va avoir Sévirette, puis ça, ben c'est le Huracan Spirit of the Wind. Kangaroo Lord, ouais, c'est ça. Fait que, ok, cool. C'est un modèle, je sais pas, je suis un peu neutre par rapport à ce modèle-là. C'est correct. C'est une certaine esthétique. Le reste du stock, j'adore. Ben, lui c'est le name character aussi, la version name character du Lord Mounted. Puis de ce qu'on comprend, lui, il vient de Emetrica. Donc, il va probablement avoir le keyword Emetrica, locked in Emetrica. C'est encore un très beau modèle. Mais j'imagine que l'autre version non-named va être plus utile. Ça reste à voir encore. Ok, on a le nom ici, je pense. Les twins, Elania et Elator. Donc, comme je disais tantôt, j'espère que la connexion du pied avec le soleil ici est solide, right? Mais à part ça, le modèle est cool. On a encore l'iconographie du soleil versus la lune, hein, Teclis avec Tyrion. Deux twins comme Teclis et Tyrion qui sont favoris l'un de l'autre. Donc, ok. Hâte de voir qu'est-ce qu'ils font sur le terrain. Est-ce que ça va être juste c'est clairement un name character encore, là. Bon, faut voir si ça vaut la peine de les amener sur le battlefield. Le Lore Seeker. On a deux nouveaux mages, deux nouveaux Wizards Sinari. Donc, vont pouvoir prendre les common traits et les artefacts Sinari, le lore des Sinari aussi. Donc, c'est probablement des alternatives à des cataleurs. Mais comme je disais tantôt, c'est sûr que... Comme on l'a dit tantôt, c'est sûr qu'une cataleur, c'est très, 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 très bon. Peut-être qu'eux autres aussi ont vraiment leur grosse utilité ou on va pouvoir prendre un de chaque ou peu importe. Fait que probablement un genre de mage qui peut se battre quand même là, avec comme les vieux Lore Masters là, sont quand même axés aussi sur le combat. Là. Sinari, c'est pas les kangourous. Non, c'est les Huracan, les kangourous. Sinari, c'est la caste de mage. Donc la cataleur fait partie de ça. On a ce dude-là aussi qui est un Sinari calligraphe, quelque chose de même. Lui, il inscrit les runes, tout ça, là. Fait qu'un autre mage, encore une fois, hâte de voir qu'est-ce qu'il va apporter de spécial à l'armée. On a la Wind Mage. Le Wind Mage, peut-être. Ça, c'est vraiment locked in avec le temple du vent. Donc, c'est un Wind Mage qui est Goku sur son nimbus, carrément. Fait que, cool. On l'avait déjà vu une partie du nuage dans un rumor. Hâte de voir qu'est-ce que le temple du vent amène à tout ça. Fly instant, non! Ouais. Ouais. Il va falloir dealer avec ça. Un de mes préférés qu'on a vu aujourd'hui, la bannière. J'ai hâte de voir quel genre de buff la bannière va amener au Venari. Alentour. Le dos a clairement un gros chapeau Venari Oralan Warden, mais genre doublé en grosseur. Le retour des bannières. Oh oui. Fait que c'est une méga grosse bannière. J'imagine que ça doit donner un bon buff avec une bonne aura. Who knows? Fait que cool. Hâte de voir la suite pour ça. Et là, on a le bout qui m'a trigger un peu au début. Nouveau Battle Tome Luminette. Qu'est-ce qu'ils disent eux ici? Alongside updated Battle Tome, packed with lore, war scroll and allegiance abilities. If you are taken the plunge and picked up a copy of the first Battle Tome Luminette Red Realms, you can get all of the war scrolls for the new units. Ah, in the Broken Realms, take this book. Bon, ok. Fait qu'ils ont confirmé que t'as pas nécessairement besoin d'acheter ce nouveau Battle Tome-là si t'avais acheté le premier. Parce que tous les War Scrolls et tout ça vont se retrouver aussi dans Broken Realms. Techlist. C'est quand même tannant parce que va falloir traîner les deux livres quand tu veux avoir tout. Alors que là, t'as carrément un nouveau livre qui a tout en même place. Mais genre, pour ceux qui ont acheté leur livre, là, tu sais, je veux dire... Oui, ici. Tu sais, je sais pas s'il y a des gens comme moi ici, mais qui ont le fameux livre Limited Edition qui venait de la boîte. Le côté un peu collectionneur mange une claque parce que là, t'as déjà un autre livre qui vient de sortir. Tu sais, c'est particulier un peu. De quoi, mais tu vas payer? Ouais. Tu vas payer pour avoir Broken Realms? C'est sûr que tu payes d'une manière ou d'une autre. Fait que ça l'a... tu vas l'acheter pareil pour pas traîner deux livres, ça dépend. Broken Realms, c'est pas un très gros livre non plus, là. Je vais voir qu'est-ce que... C'est quoi le qui revient le plus pratique, là. Mais, tu sais, si je pourrais acheter Broken Realms, de toute façon, j'achèterais pas un deuxième Battle Tome juste pour traîner un livre au lieu de deux, là, tu sais. Mais bon, peut-être qu'on va juste laisser faire le Broken Realms, trouver l'histoire ailleurs, puis... pogner ce livre-là, je sais pas. C'est particulier quand même. Mais bon, faut se dire, comme Gab t'a dit tantôt, peut-être le premier livre devait sortir beaucoup plus tôt. C'est juste particulier que même à ça, il y en a un qui sorte aussi vite. Aussi vite que ça, puis c'est les mêmes choses qu'on retrouve dans ce livre-là, plus les nouvelles qui viennent de sortir. C'est un beau problème à avoir. I guess. Ça veut pas dire que c'est une... Ça veut pas dire que c'est une pratique qu'il faudrait encourager de Games Workshop, par contre. Trop de nouveautés, ouais, mais c'est leur release order. Est-ce qu'on peut blâmer vraiment juste ça, sa COVID? Je sais pas. Je sais pas à quel point. Mais c'est pas idéal non plus. Fait quoi? Luminette. Le nouveau héros Night Hunt. Donc on a eu le droit à quelques héros pour Age of Sigmar. Le héros Night Hunt est quand même badass, right? Un Krulgast Cruciator. Through the foulest torture imaginable, someone poured out their Agraxor shade in front of their very eyes. C'est vrai que c'est une torture. Le modèle est nice. J'aime beaucoup la machinerie. Là. Il est retenu par son bras ici, puis par l'autre ici. Fait qu'il peut juste bouger un bras comme ça. Là. à cause des chaînes qui les retiennent d'un bord puis de l'autre. Fait que cool. I guess que faute d'avoir un nouveau livre pour les Night Hunt ou des nouvelles sous-factions, ben au moins ils ont un nouveau modèle. Est-ce qu'il va être utile? Seul le temps va nous le dire. Eh bien, on a eu Gardus aussi. On s'attendait un peu à avoir Gardus, donc qui est sorti tout droit d'un novel de Black Library. J'aime beaucoup le modèle. J'aime le fait qu'on ait le dynamisme de genre il vient de dropper. Pouf! Puis il est ready to fight, let's go. J'ai ça. J'aime ça. J'aime ça. On a eu droit à un White King qui ont confirmé que ça allait faire partie des Soulblight. Donc, no word sur les Soulblight, mais on a un héros, un White King à cheval maintenant. Très cool le modèle. Numberless Swords of the Death Rattle. Ouais, fait que clairement, Soulblight. Clairement, Soulblight vont avoir aussi des. Pas juste des vampires, mais il va avoir, mettons, les squelettes, Death Rattle, tout ça intégré. Cool. Cool. La Warband de Oruk. Très nice, right? Le chaman et sa coche, pour vrai, là. Le masque du... Je sais pas si ça va être un Weirgrub Prophet. Probablement avec le masque, là. C'est quand même nice. Avec le Danger Noodle dans ses bras. Ce dude-là, on l'avait vu. Ce dude-là, on l'avait vu. Mais l'angle fait penser à une crevette ici. Hein? Gab dit War Dog. Je sais pas, un War Dog. Peut-être. Peut-être bien. Oups. Voyons. Et finalement, l'archer. Sans string. Donc, clairement, il faut qu'il croie que sa flèche décolle, puis ça décolle. Ça, on a déjà... on a déjà statué là-dessus. C'est comme ça que ça marche. Fait qu'une belle warband. C'est cool de voir des Savage Oryx refait, là. Ça fait longtemps là, qu'on n'a pas vu de nouveaux modèles dans ce range-là. Donc, avec remis au goût du jour, ça fait un très, très beau modèle. Malheureusement, les autres Savage Oryx sont dégueux. Ben, c'est ça. Ils seraient dû aussi pour un petit revamp, effectivement. Mais il y a de quoi à faire. Starter set, 2 joueurs, Warhammer Underworlds. Ok. C'est tel que tel. Avec des pre-made decks. Ok, cool. Peu importe. Curse City! On a eu droit à tout le gros reveal de Curse City. La boîte dans toute sa splendeur. J'avoue que, comme Matt disait, on a des vibes de Darkest Dungeon. Hein? Et il y a du stock dans cette boîte-là, mesdames et messieurs. Hein? Combien ça va coûter? Bonne question. Saline qui a dit 200 tantôt. Saline Tasha, tu dis 230. Je sais pas hein, combien ils vont mettre ça. Still buy it. Still buy it, c'est clair. Ouh, the hell avec le resub pour 5 mois. My man. Thank you, boy. Hey Alex, merci d'être passé. Bonne journée à toi aussi. On se rejase bien vite. Chou-chou, de way. Ouais, c'est une méchante belle boîte, là. Beaucoup de stock là-dedans, là. On le disait tantôt, 42 hostiles, 8 héros. Et tout le stock que vous voyez ici. Je sais pas s'ils ont remis l'image qu'on a vue tantôt. Là. En parlant des héros, on les a ici. C'est lequel votre préféré? Quel est votre héros préféré? Gab, tu vas dire le Ogre, je sais déjà, right? Moi, j'hésite entre... Ah, man, ce dude-là, je peux pas unsee, genre, ses dents. Je peux pas... Je sais pas, falloir que je le vois de up close pour savoir c'est quoi exactement. Blackstone était 180. Toi, tu dis 230, 250. Ça va être un Ogre. Le Ogre, c'est ton favorite? There he is. Big boy. Merci. Hey, merci Cédric. À la prochaine. T'en serves toi. On se revoit bientôt, j'espère. Tu peux zoom. Tu veux zoom sur les dents du dude? Et je peux pas zoom tant que ça. Pas vraiment. Ça zoome pas sur ça parce que c'est comme fait dans un truc qui roll. Mais bon, c'est pas grave là. Ce dude-là, autant que je le trouve super creepy, autant qu'il me titille un peu avec le visage vide, là. J'haïs pas ça. Particulier un peu. C'est pas ses lèvres, je sais pas, man. Je sais pas. Peut-être. Mais c'est quoi le blanc? Je sais pas. Je sais pas. La mage, l'ogre. Le knight, c'est quand même cool aussi. Le Knight of Sigmar. Lui, il est tellement bad. Le Witch Hunter est trop badass aussi, right? Caradron, c'est un autre Caradron, c'est tel que tel. Un mage Shaiish. Puis la Kurnotti. La Kurnotti est vraiment hot. La Kurnotti est vraiment hot. C'est-tu un ou une Knight? Je pense que c'est une Knight. Bonne question, je sais pas. G-Dub avec leur visage des fois, puis là, j'ai aucune idée. C'est les deux. C'est les deux. C'est soit une femme ou Gordon Ramsay. It's raw! Et on a eu droit aux Hostiles, donc les nouveaux Bat Swarms, très cool. Les Rat Swarms, avec des Undead Rats un peu partout. Nice. Les Undead Ogre, on n'avait pas vu ça encore, quand même cool. On dirait qu'ils ont ratatiné un peu, ils mangent plus autant qu'avant, hein. Leur bedon est pas aussi gros. Mais ils ont l'air imposants, avec les grosses haches, là, très nice comme modèle. Ça, c'est la Ulfenwatch, right? C'est les modèles qui font partie de la Ulfenwatch avec les autres ici. Ouais. Les nouveaux Skeletons, très cool.
Saturday Woo.
Saturday Woo de elle avec le 100 bits, thank you. La Ulfenwatch et sa coche sont nice avec le Ogre Vampire. Ouais, on va y arriver bientôt. Les zombies avec les pierres tombales puis tout ça qui sont carrément empalés dans les zombies puis qui les traînent sur leur dos, genre. That's something. Les modèles des zombies sont cool. Je sais pas si je les aurais tous pris avec leur tombstone sur le dos, mais bon. C'est tel que tel. Les Bat Swarms, on les a vus. Nice monsters. Et là, on a les boss. On a le Big Boss lui-même, The Wolf. Un Ogre Vampire. Avec un chapeau ou des cheveux. On sait pas c'est quoi. Un peu laid. Mais le reste du modèle est vraiment sacoche. Mais je trippe pas sur le chapeau. / les cheveux. On va lui mettre une autre tête. Ça pourrait être fait. Ça pourrait être fait. La Wolf Pelt est quand même sa coche. C'est un chapeau que Gab dit sans aucun doute. Comme qu'il se lève. Eh bien. Ce dude-là qu'on a vu, déjà. On l'avait vu cette semaine, je pense. Le dude-là qu'on avait vu. Et le gros monstre. Ça, il va y avoir des cool conversions avec ça, là. Ça peut faire un excellent Vargulf. Avec les ailes, comment sortir ici. Vous pouvez rajouter des ailes vous-même. Vraiment, là, ça, on va voir des trucs cool. C'est vraiment... avec les... Ah, c'est vraiment hot. Vraiment cool. Hâte de voir le reste. J'ai hâte de voir une vision 360 du modèle. Il est vraiment sa coche. Ouais, c'est quoi qu'ils ont dit? Un Varskin? Comment qu'ils appellent ça? Ils le disent pas ici. C'est pas écrit malheureusement. Radukar the Wolf. On n'a pas le nom exact. Malheureusement. C'est un Var quelque chose. Vargis. Un Vargitz. Clairement un Gitz. Puis ce dude-là aussi qu'on avait vu avant le preview. Très creepy. Très creepy. Et des nouveaux vampires. Des genres de Offspring, là, qu'ils les appelaient. Là, des genres de Thralls, finalement. Un budget Vargulf, ouais, c'est ça. Quand même nice. C'est vraiment des vampires là, beaucoup plus feral, là, qui se laissent aller à leur soif de sang. J'aime bien. Avec les pattes, là. J'ai hâte de voir si on va avoir des units de ça dans un futur Soulblight Gravelord. Ça serait cool. Ça serait cool. Fait que ça fait le tour pour les modèles. Quand même, beaucoup de modèles. Finalement, on a vu tout le reste de la boîte de Curse City. Donc là, ils vous disent tout ce que vous allez avoir. 8 héros, les 42 hostiles, 10 objective markers. Les rulebook, questbook pour le jeu. Vous allez avoir les war scrolls aussi pour jouer dans Age of Sigmar, tout ce que vous avez vu ici. Counters and tokens, des dés, les board tiles, gateways, lich gates. Cool. La secret envelope. What's that? Et toutes les cartes que vous aurez besoin pour jouer. Alongside the box set comes the Curse City novel. Ouais, il va y avoir le novel sur Curse City. Puis en dedans, il va y avoir un Unique Hero Card. Ok. C'est le reward à la fin. Ah, ok. Cool. Cool. C'est un jeu Legacy. C'est tout qu'on a ici sur Warhammer Community. Je vais refresh, mais j'ai l'impression que le petit teaser de Be'lakor à la fin... Oh! Ah, there it is. Il était pas rendu encore. We're not going to give away too much right now, except to say this is all tied in with the princely third book. Oh! Le 3e livre de Broken Realms. With the awakening of the undead and Teclis' plan coming to fruition. Donc, est-ce que Teclis va réussir à crisser une volée à Nagash? It's going to be an amazing year in the Mortal Realms. Cool. Ok. Des cas soient en mort, Be'lakor s'est fâché, ouais. On l'a rechecké, ouais.
I was their first son, the Prince of
Bellacore va voler le Godhood de Nagash. Civil War contre Archeon. Ouais, ce serait cool. Mais là, peut-être que carrément le prochain Broken Realms, le troisième Broken Realms va être Broken Realms Bellacore. Maybe. Ça serait nice. Ok, fait qu'il commence déjà à semer des miettes de pain pour le prochain Broken Realms. Je suis encore plus fâché la deuxième fois. Alright. Toujours pas de destruction. Ça reste à voir. Mais il y en a beaucoup qui pensent que Destruction s'en vient, va plutôt shiner avec le release de la 3e édition. Fait que peut-être qu'on s'en va tranquillement vers ça puis qu'ils vont prendre Center Stage avec la 3e édition. Who knows? Right? Comment vous avez trouvé le preview, guys? Je pense qu'il y a quand même des gens qui vont être déçus pas mal qu'on n'a pas eu plus d'infos sur les Soul Blight, mais en tout et partout, on a eu quand même beaucoup de stock d'annoncer puis de montrer. Curse City au complet. On a eu beaucoup des nouveaux modèles de luminettes qui s'en viennent. On a eu des nouveaux héros qu'on s'attendait pas vraiment à voir. C'était quand même nice. Underworlds, la Warband est cool. Moi, c'est sûr que ce qui me hype le plus, dans un sens, c'est le nouveau modèle luminette, mais honnêtement, Curse City a l'air tellement d'être sa coche, là. C'est insane, là. Tout le stock de Curse City va être Soul Blight, probablement. Probablement. Ça serait quand la 3e édition? Ça, c'est la bonne question, parce que on sait pas. Est-ce qu'il s'enligne pour cet été? Je sais pas. Peut-être l'année prochaine. Habituellement, G-Dub sort une édition à l'été. Je sais pas. Je sais pas quand est-ce que ça va arriver. Luminette, les nouveaux Stormcast. Je veux juste jouer cela à Starbound. Tornor avec les priorités à bonne place, that's it. Les Stone Nets. Hey, salut Gab. Bonne journée, merci d'être passé. Alright. Bon, mais... un beau petit preview, right? J'ai hâte de voir la suite des choses. Je pensais qu'on aurait plus d'infos sur Broken Realms Techlist. Je veux dire, oui, on a vu des nouveaux modèles et tout ça, mais je pensais qu'on saurait peut-être quand est-ce que le livre va sortir, quand est-ce qu'on va avoir un pre-order, tout ça. Bon, peut-être en fait semaine prochaine. Le dimanche, là, souvent c'est les dimanches, les pre-orders qui annoncent pour la semaine d'après. Là. Ça fait vraiment longtemps que je veux jouer des elfes pour faire mon armée de Blood Elf de WoW. Et le look des luminettes fit tellement, je vais peut-être finir par faire le switch. Cool. Cool. Je vais en game une tantôt. Ouais, c'est quoi que vous allez jouer? Est-ce que tu amènes tes Slaves to Darkness ou tu vas jouer des luminettes? Ça, c'est très cool. Très nice. Plague Touch, nice. Nice, ben oui, tu posteras des photos sur Facebook, tout ça. Ou dans le groupe. Hâte de voir ça. Le nouveau héros de Night Hunt, j'ai hâte, cool. Ouais, il était badass quand même. Il était badass quand même. J'ai bien aimé aussi. Oh là là. Cool. Super, envoie-nous ça sur Facebook à soir, ça va être très nice. Alright guys, un gros merci d'être venu sur le stream pour les previews et tout ça. C'était très nice de vous avoir avec nous. J'espère que vous avez apprécié votre temps ici. Wow. Ok. Toujours un plaisir de faire les live reactions avec vous, guys. Toujours cool de vous avoir dans le chat, de jaser avec vous autres. Fait que j'espère que vous avez un bon reste de fin de semaine. Nous, on va se retrouver mardi soir pour le prochain épisode du Double Tour. Cette semaine, je reçois les gars de AOS Geeks. Donc, on va venir jaser un peu, présenter leur chaîne, tout ça. Et on va jaser, bien entendu, des reveals en fin de semaine. Et aussi de peut-être leurs impressions des deux derniers Battletoads qui viennent de sortir, soit Slanesh et Daughters of Cain. Donc, on va faire un peu un genre de tour de table comme ça. Fait que ça devrait être très cool. Fait que... je vous dis à mardi soir, guys. Puis pour ceux qui veulent rester un peu, je vous redirige vers... on va raider Miniatures Den, qui est en train de faire un stream de peinture. Donc, si vous voulez dire bonjour de notre part, puis faire un petit coucou à Miniatures Den, ça devrait être cool. Fait que... une bonne journée à vous, guys. Et si vous voulez aller au raid, je lance le raid. Miniatures Den. Where is it? Ici. Miniatures Den. Alright, le raid est parti, guys. C'est que si vous voulez join in, vous direz un bon bonjour de notre part. Fait que une bonne fin de semaine, les gars. À la prochaine. Ciao, bye.